Dana Day Smithers. I am one of the Emotion Code Divas, and my diva partner, Helena Jenikin, and I do a Wednesday morning show, 9:30 Pacific time, every Wednesday, all sorts of different topics. We educate, inspire, and heal and release trapped emotions for people. But we've had a lot of people have come to Helena, who is an expert in many areas, but today we're going to be presenting her as the stop smoking lady, because Helena gets a lot of clients that she works with and helps through. Why do you have so many packs of cigarettes there? I know you don't smoke.
I don't smoke. I used to smoke many years ago. Kind of strange why I ever did, but now people just leave these in my office. I have drawers full of cigarettes, full packs of cigarettes that they just leave behind my office after they're done their hypnosis session with me.
Isn't that fabulous?
I know, it's great. They don't even want them. I don't even ask for them. They just sort of see the pile there in the corner of my office, and they go, "Can I just leave these behind? Because I don't want them."
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do on today's show is Helena literally has helped thousands of people stop smoking. She's got a lot of people that do come through her office. She has an office located in Cobble Hill, which is on the island, but Helena does travel, so she can definitely help people wherever you are. But today we're talking about 10 tips that Helena, gives to her clients on a regular basis, but they are tips that a lot of people are going to be very surprised about. And one of the things I wanted to start with, Helena, was asking you, we were talking yesterday about the emotional, physical, and psychological pain that smoking causes people. And I was saying, well, we all know that nicotine is addictive. And you said,
What?
What?
Where'd you get that idea? Where do people get the idea that nicotine is addictive? Perhaps it's from the companies that sell those patches, pills, and gums and lozenges and sprays. Because that's a whole nother business, isn't it? And guess who supplies the nicotine for those companies? The tobacco companies. And so you'll find that on their websites, they'll share the information on how you can stop smoking with a patch, with a pill, with a gum, with a lozenge. And when it doesn't work, you'll just go right back to smoking these things because you have not addressed the real reason why you're smoking. And I'll share that particular reason at the end of this video.
All right. Okay. So, all righty. So, yeah, we got about 30 minutes of information, and also since I'm a law of attraction trainer, business coach, and life coach, I'm just all about the power of your words. And Helena is going to be talking about and sharing these tips. But so right now, what we're going to ask you to do is just be open. If you are a smoker or you know somebody that smokes, share this now or share it later. But I think the tips and the information that you're going to learn here are going to be extremely valuable because Helena opened my eyes to a lot of things. And, these tips are, they're practical. Some of them are, okay, so kind of what's going on in the subconscious, or what's going on, what are we saying to ourselves, right? From a law of attraction perspective is, one of my things that makes me kind of crazy is when people say, well, I'm going to try. I'm going to try something.
Yeah, trying's lying, Dana.
Try in the law of attraction lingo is just a negative word, and all you're doing is causing a lot of chaos in your body because are you doing it or not? So tip number 1, Helena, let's go right there.
Tip number 1 is decide to stop smoking. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, not next decade. Decide to stop smoking now. You see, I have a lot of clients that phone me up and they're just inquiring about the process, or they've watched videos on my website and they've got some information there. They've read the text, they've done the quiz, and then they're ready to stop smoking. They've decided that they're going to set the appointment the date and the time, and that's going to be the moment that they are going to stop smoking. Well, you too can just decide to stop smoking. Along with my other tips will help you to be successful.
So something that you just said, they decide. So what you mean the person decides, but I know from our conversations that you often have partners
That's
calling
right.
in and they suggesting that their spouse or partner, friend or whatever, they'd like to set up the appointment. So any red flags go off then?
Yeah, yeah, total red flags. You see, it's like people, they phone me up and they go, "Can I buy a gift certificate or a birthday present for my husband or for my sister, from my neighbor? Because I really would like them to stop smoking." It doesn't work like that. You see, the person themselves needs to decide that they want to stop smoking for themselves, not for their doctors and not for their kids and not for their spouses, their partners, their neighbors, their coworkers, their boss, or whoever it might be, but for themselves. And when they decide that they want to do this for themselves, I can help them, and I do
Yeah.
help them.
And that's when when they get support from the universe as well. So if you're listening to this, I suggest you take out a pen and paper and we're going to give you the top 10 tips. So number one is decide. You have to make that decision. So number two is benefit. So
Mhm.
what's
So,
in it for them? Why should they stop smoking? Why do
well,
they tell you?
yeah. So actually, that's the question I ask them. So why now? Why do you want to stop smoking now? And a lot of people just kind of off the cuff will say, well, it's for my health, or it's because it costs so much money. And then when I start to probe a little deeper, find out that they're scared of dying. Dana, they're
Mm,
scared of
yeah.
dying of a smoking related disease. They're standing outside there having a smoke, and they're actually, a part of them is thinking about, this is killing me. I'm actually sucking poison into my system. So what's in it for you? It's important that it's for you. And I actually have, I give my clients 12 reasons why it may be important for them, and I give them an optional other. So you kind of give them a hint about those 12 different reasons, and then they choose their top 3 reasons.
Okay.
You see, they're all can be important, kind of, but there always will be that top reason why they've decided to stop smoking today.
That's great. Okay, so number one, decide. Number two are the benefits. So the third tip that you've got has to do with the mindset and what
Mhm.
they're telling themselves. So what would you suggest there for them to do, Helena?
What I ask them to do is change their words.
Hmm.
So many people, they say, well, I need a cigarette. I need to calm myself down, so I need a cigarette. I'm so stressed, I need a cigarette. I need to relax, so I need a cigarette. I don't want to gain weight, so I need a cigarette. I have no willpower, so I need a cigarette. You know what you need? You need fresh air.
Mm.
Your body needs to breathe air and have water and some substance like some food, shelter, and safety. And after you have your safety and shelter and food, and you have love and belonging in your life, you feel like you have a purpose in your life, after that, you don't really need much else. But what I'm encouraged my clients to say is, I want a cigarette, because that's the truth. You don't need a cigarette, you want a cigarette. And people go, but I don't want a cigarette. Well, obviously you do, because otherwise you wouldn't be. How do you this? All these packages open up differently these times.
Huh.
If you didn't want a cigarette, you wouldn't put this in your mouth and light it on fire and smoke it. You don't need this. You don't need this to live. So changing your words from I need a cigarette to I want a cigarette, because then you can switch up the words again and say, I want to be smoke free. I want to breathe clean, fresh air. You see how simple that is? Just changing your words to the truth of what's really going on. You don't need it. You don't need a cigarette. You want a cigarette. And then when you say, but I don't want a cigarette, well, let's start the process and get you smoke free.
That's great.
That's tip number 3.
Yeah. So it's a lot of ownership then
Mhm.
that they have is when they're saying, well, I want it, and they can get to the point, well, I want some fresh air today, right? Or I want to drink some water. But when you were talking, I noticed that there was a lot of psychological talk in there about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
That's right.
So
Because,
there's a huge amount of psychology that goes on. So that's, stay tuned for the really big aha moment, but just listen to what is going on here. It's all these feelings of insecurity, not safe, not taken care of, not being nourished, not belonging, not having a purpose. So that was actually a big aha for me, Helena, because I didn't realize I'm not a smoker. I've never really been a smoker. Okay, well, at university, to be cool, I smoked those little cigarellos, right? Cool me, whatever. But really, I didn't enjoy them at all. It was just sort of the look, right? Which is, we'll hear a lot of people are social smokers, right? That they go to a party or they go into a bar and all of a sudden everybody's smoking, so they're going to be cool. So again, it's the psychology going on there. So that's huge.
Dana, you talking about that is so true. You see, when I smoked cigarettes was at a time when I used to work in a health food store. Isn't that amazing? So all day long, I was helping people to become more relaxed and deal with their stress and all their different health issues. And get this, I would wake up in the morning, not have a cigarette. I'd go to work all day, not have a cigarette. I'd close up the store, get in my car, and I'd smoke a cigarette. And then I would go out with my friends because I was in my younger years and very social years,
Yeah.
and we would smoke. All of us would smoke at the bar, at a party, or wherever it was. And the next morning I woke up and went to work and didn't have a cigarette. So it
In the
was
health food store.
very automatic
Yeah.
behaviors. Yeah, very
Uh-huh.
situational behaviors.
All right. All right. So let's move on to number 4. So this is a physical tip
Yeah.
that Helene is going to give you here. So what's tip number 4?
Well, tip number 4 is smoke with your other hand. You see, we do things so automatically, right? You flip out the
So if I
cigarette.
had
you
a
get the
cigarette,
lighter.
it'd be here in my right hand. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, how awkward is it to find another pack of cigarettes here? How awkward is it to smoke with this hand? It's quite awkward, actually,
It just
because
feels weird.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you've been smoking a cigarette and lifting the cigarette to your mouth. Each cigarette is what, about maybe like 5, 10 drags? You're smoking about a pack or 2 packs a day. That's 100, 200 times a day that you're bringing this hand up to your mouth. Every day, every year that you've smoked, every decade that you've smoked. This is a powerful, powerful reinforcement. Now, when you switch it to this, you have to start to think about it. And it's not as comfortable, it's not as easy, and you'll start to become more aware of what you're doing. And when you're more aware of what you're doing, that's when you start to wake up from your trance, your smoking trance that you've been in for a very long, long time.
Excellent tip there. I like that. And the next tip, number 5. So number 4, smoke with the other hand. Number 5, again, it's a physical change of the body. The visceral stuff going on is going to be different. So what are you suggesting there?
Smoke in a different spot. It's the same idea of smoking in the same place. You get into your car, you start smoking in your car. So what if you had your cigarette before you got in the car? Different. What if you're at home and you have to go outside to smoke and maybe you're on your balcony, your patio, at your front door, and now you just change locations. Now it's a little bit more uncomfortable. And again, you're getting kicked out of the automatic smoking trance.
So you mean the coffee and the smoke, you're asking people to stop doing this in the morning, whether it's a cola or whatever,
It's
coffee, smoke, and
if you're going to have like a coffee and a cigarette, go have it somewhere else and just notice the change. Now, what if you actually switched it up from your coffee and cigarette to a glass of water and a cigarette? You're switching up the change. You
well,
still
and
can have
in a
your
different
coffee
hand too.
in a different hand, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's like, so this is how you normally drink your coffee and cigarette. Just switch it up like this. It's odd and it's awkward.
It's sort of like you're
And
breaking a pattern.
that's right,
Yeah. So
because patterns and habits are automatic behaviors. And the automatic behaviors are the domain of the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind has been programmed to smoke a certain way, at a certain place, with a certain associations, with certain triggers. And the more that we can break up those associations and switch things around, that's when we can break up the pattern and you can become more aware of what's actually happening.
all right. So tip number 6 is another physical thing that they can do, and I think this one is a real eye opener.
This one is a real eye opener because what I've noticed, Hannah, is when I ask people, how many cigarettes do you smoke? And they're like, oh, about 10, 20, I don't know, 25.
How many's in a pack? I don't even know.
A pack is, it's 20 cigarettes.
Okay.
And you know what I noticed was just really different from when I smoked cigarettes. Cigarettes always came in one length. They're coming in different lengths now. They're coming in like these short cigarettes.
Okay, so you smoked a long time ago.
A
'Cause
long
I
time ago.
remember they
Yeah.
had, yeah, long, yeah.
I've quit for 18 years now, and I actually, get this, I decided to stop smoking.
Yeah.
Because I looked at and felt the benefits. What's in it for me to keep smoking, and what are the benefits in for me to stop smoking? And then I really got good at changing my words. I don't need a cigarette. I wanted a cigarette, and I realized actually I didn't want a cigarette. That was incongruent with who I was and who I wanted to be. I really wanted to be smoke free, and I wanted to breathe clean, fresh air, and I wanted to be healthy, and I wanted to age gracefully. So, yeah,
And it does wreck the skin, right?
oh, it's I only smoked for 18 years itself. So I've been 17. I smoked for 17 years. I've been 18 years free. I notice the ravages, the damages on my skin smoking for just 17 years. And I say just 17 years because, Dana, a lot of my clients are over the age of 50 that come in to see me. Recently, I had a lady that was 72 years old. She'd been smoking 2 packs a day.
Wow.
And she came in and she stopped just like that. But I often have to look at my intake form to actually see how old they really are because they often look a lot older. So the sooner we can stop smoking, the better it is for our skin and for our health. But it's never too late. There's always
Absolutely.
a good time to stop.
Right. That's a
So,
great one. So keep a journal, notice
actually,
where,
we didn't actually even give tip number 6. So tip number 6 was keep a journal. Keep a journal. Keep the journal. And in the journal, I'd like you to write the time that you smoked and the location and what you were doing. And what's going to do it is what's going to happen there is, again, you're going to break the pattern, break the trance, and get a good record of what is going on. And
so
you can
really
start to
being
see.
able to see what you're doing, right? Like there it is in black and white. You can't say, and noticing where do you smoke, how many, and then maybe we'll just do tip number 7 in that because I think it goes together is track your different feelings and emotions. So you could maybe even just do a sheet, right? So where are you smoking? So why are the feelings important, Helena?
Well, you see, our feelings is what drives our results. So just in like law of attraction, Dana, you know this, and I learned this from you and from other like Michael Lozier and different people. But the words that you're using create a thought. And that thought is going to generate a feeling, if they're positive or negative. There's only 2 feelings, positive or negative. And that feeling is going to generate your result. So if you're tracking in your journal the time, the location, and your feelings or emotion, you'll see the result. So I have a lot of people that say that they smoke because they're stressed out.
That's a
And
big one.
so if you start to see that you're stressed, maybe it'd be a good idea to actually resolve that stress, learn how to manage that
Yeah.
stress, how to remove that stress to actually address that stress.
Yeah, meditation is a great way. Even, we talk about breathing techniques. Just stop
Yeah.
and breathe. And yeah, I mean, that could be a whole other show about stress and what causes stressful smoking, but stress is the number one, is it,
Yeah,
Helena?
well, it's the number one, but it's very closely tied to relaxation. So people like to perhaps,
Oh, okay. Interesting.
yeah,
Interesting.
so they give me the reasons why they smoke is because they're stressed and they want to relax.
So almost like the same reason that people have a drink,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. And so what's really interesting is there's no way to relax with a cigarette. It is impossible to relax with a cigarette. And you know why it's impossible to relax with a cigarette? Is because you're killing yourself every single time by inhaling the poisons. There's 4,000 chemicals in this cigarette. And when it goes into your system, you take a drag, and that poison goes into your system. And don't kid yourself, it is poison. And it's going into your system. Your body has to fight to get it rid of it. Your heart beats faster. Your stomach actually generates an extra half a cup of stomach acid each day just to try and excrete that poison from your system. It's impossible to relax and have a cigarette. I tell you what's really easy to do and relax. That's so similar to having a cigarette is this. Get this. Here's the cigarette. Deep breath, bringing in oxygen into your body, your cells, and your blood system, allowing your muscles to relax and drop down, your shoulders dropping down. Taking a moment for yourself is all relaxing. And I didn't even need to take a drag on that cigarette. More
That's
about
a
that
good one.
later, Jana.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah. So keep the journal, keep track of your feelings, and just notice what are the emotions that you think are causing you to smoke, and then take Helena's tip there. Put that down, just start breathing, breathe in good oxygen, be outside. And number 8 is this one kind of makes me chuckle. So how many brands of cigarettes do you have there?
Oh, I've got a drawer for, I've probably got like about 12, 15 different brands because people
Yeah.
from the States, they find out about me and it's really easy to,
Oh,
to
nice.
just take a ferry or even a plane ride. People, I have a lot of other hypnotist friends in the United States and they just recommend people go up to Canada, go take that session, go see that lady, the stop smoking lady, and you'll be smoke free. So here's the thing. My tip number 8 is purchase a different brand of cigarettes. What? But I like my brand of
Yeah.
cigarettes.
My dad,
Yeah,
his
sure.
Camels, no filter. He smoked those, because in, that stage, and also it's the marketing, right? Like my mother used to call my father the Marlboro Man, and we all know that, for those of us that can go back that far, know that the Marlboro Man was handsome. He was a cowboy. He looked so cool with his cigarette. And think of all the movie stars, go back and see those films. Oh my goodness, everybody's got a cigarette, and his was always Camel.
Right. So that Marlboro Man, that strong, handsome Marlboro Man, you know what he died of? Yep, a smoking related disease. He wasn't so pretty looking when he was older. Danny, you talked there about the movies and the men and women smoking in the
And the
movies.
marketing, yeah.
Yeah, the marketing. So you know how it's very interesting how those cigarette companies work. People used to smoke World War I, way back when,
Yes.
and only men smoked cigarettes back then. Some ladies did, but it really wasn't commonplace for women to smoke. Well, after World War I, we know that not everyone came back. And so those cigarette companies just lost millions, thousands of people that used to smoke. They needed a new customer base. So what they decided to do is go after the women. And how did they influence the women? Marlene Dietrich smoking her cigarette. The women in the movie started smoking cigarettes on screen. And the women going to the movies started watching those women and they started thinking how cool they were, how sexy they were, how sensual they were. And so they started to pick up their cigarettes as well. And it became more commonplace to see women smoking on the screen and then in real life. And just like that, the cigarette companies were able to influence and hook a whole nother gender. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, very, very interesting. So you're saying buy a different brand of cigarettes and
I say buy a different brand of cigarettes because you think that you really enjoy your brand of cigarettes. And if you're going to buy a different pack of cigarettes, it's not going to taste the same and you're not going to really enjoy it. The truth is, when you first started smoking cigarettes, you didn't like the taste. I bet if you can remember that far back, that when you took your first drag off your first cigarette, you probably coughed and choked and thought, this doesn't taste so good.
I did.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember my first cigarette too. I think I was about 12 years old when I had first
Wow.
cigarette. I don't know, we found a pack of cigarettes somewhere, and we just kind of three of us got together and on the schoolyard in the forest, and we just lit up a cigarette and we like burnt our lips and choked, and that didn't taste so good. But you know what the other things we used to do is smoke those candy cigarettes.
Oh yeah, for sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
right, the
You
Popeye
had a little
token
red
cigarettes.
at the top in the little
Yeah,
package and you got your
yeah.
own pack. That's right. Forgot all about that.
Aimed at the kids, right? And I wanted to be as cool as my neighbors. My parents didn't smoke, but my neighbors, my friends' moms, they all smoked. I wanted to be as cool as they were, so I could get some of those candy cigarettes and start smoking them. But the truth is, when I started to pick up cigarettes, like real cigarettes, and started to smoke them, they didn't taste good.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be cool and I wanted to fit in. And soon I got used to a certain taste and I always bought the same brand. So the truth of it is you just got used to a certain taste. So switch it up, buy a different brand and see the truth of what these actually taste like and smell. And snap yourself out of the smoking trance.
And we won't even go into the smell of it or, when somebody comes in, I know I worked in an office where, since there's no smoking rule and somebody that smokes would come in and, just about knock you over. And people that really smoke heavily, they just can't get rid of the smell. But that can be another show, another topic. All right. So I'm going to go back and, yeah.
Dana, one of my best ways of handing out my cards, I have my stop smoking cards. I always carry them in my back pocket or very handy because when I'm out and about and I'm walking by someone either in a grocery store or out in the street in the fresh air, I can tell who's a heavy smoker
Yeah.
just by the scent. And I just hand them my card and just say, I'm a hypnotist and I help people stop smoking in one session in case you're interested. 99% of the time, they'll take the card because a lot of people don't actually want to smoke.
Yeah.
They've tried and they've tried and they've tried to quit smoking.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. So tip number 1 was decide to stop smoking. It has to be your decision and it must be firm. Take a look at the benefits, what's in it for you. Number 3 is change the words that you're telling yourself from I need a cigarette to I want. Start there, and then you can keep moving forward with that. Physically, try smoking with the other hand. Tip number 5, smoke in a different spot than you normally do. Tip number 6, keep a journal, track the time, location. And tip number 7 is track your feelings and emotions. Find out why you're smoking. See if there's a common theme there. And then find a way that you can deal with that. Number 8 is buy a different brand of cigarettes. And number 9, this is an interesting one.
This is an interesting one. Yes. Pay cash for cigarettes.
And how much do cigarettes cost? I have no idea.
I think these cigarettes in Canada right now, these are they're called Captain Blacks.
Oh my goodness.
They're
I've never seen those.
Yeah, they're tip cigars actually, and how many are in here? There are not that many in here, and there are, I don't know, there are like eight of them in here. They're like $15 to $18
The
a
little
pack.
cigar things, okay.
Yeah, little cigar things, and and cigarettes cost 12, 13, 14 to $15
Wow,
a pack for 20 cigarettes.
wow.
So that is working out to about $400 a month of in cigarettes. And that's only if you're smoking about a pack a day. A
Wow,
lot of
about a
people,
pack a day. Wow.
but
What?
but yeah, and
Wow.
so in a year, that's close to $5,000
Yeah.
of after-tax money that you're spending on something that is actually robbing you of your health, robbing you of your looks, robbing you out of your pocketbook, your wallet, and keeping you bound to something that you've tried and tried and tried to stop. It's kind of like they've got chains around you. Those tobacco companies have got hooks and chains around you. Now, when you pay cash each and every time, you know what that feels like, giving up like a $20 bill and getting a little bit of that, little bit back. And let's say you
Especially if
go
all
and
you, since we carry so little cash, right? Like I might have 20 in my wallet, and
yeah,
but not much else, right? And then once that's gone, it's like, oh, I don't have any money left, right? So you get a feeling of lack,
that's right. You're actually feeling and you're breaking the trance. Instead of doing the debit or the credit card,
which you
you're
feel
actually,
nothing for.
that's right, because it's just whatever. But when you have to go to the bank machine and withdraw money and actually hand over to the cashier cash, that feels completely different than when you hand over plastic. So pay cash for your cigarettes. You know, Dana, the number one thing that people reply back to me when I ask them, I'm like checking in with them, how you doing? And they're like, you know what? I've noticed that I have more money in my bank account. And so many people, I ask them, so, have you ever been on a cruise? No, I can't afford a cruise. And I
Mm.
can see where they park their car, and a lot of people, sometimes they're not driving the newest as fanciest cars, and some of them are driving really old cars. And wouldn't it be nice to have an extra $400 each month to be driving around a really safe, wonderful car? Or maybe it's to go on a camping trip with your family. Um, and what about going to the spa? You could go to the spa a couple times a month instead of paying money for these things that are doing nothing for you. So pay cash for your cigarettes and notice the benefit right away.
Notice how
Notice
that
the
feels.
pain. Notice the pain and the hurt every time you hand it over. Notice those feelings and those emotions when you're going to smoke that cigarette and realize that you're just actually taking a $20 bill, $15, $10, whatever it is, and you're just lighting it on fire or throwing it down the garbage or the drain.
And that's funny when you said that. I think about the rain, right? People smoking in the rain.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Doesn't that cigarette get a little bit wet? But that's a whole other topic as well. So that's kind of changing locations. Yeah, go smoke out in the rain. See how that works for you, right? Okay, so I'm going to just do a quick recap. I know we've got some viewers that just joined us. So Helena's international, the Stop Smoking Lady. She's a certified clinical hypnotherapist. So her top tip, number one, not necessarily in any order, but decide to stop smoking. Number two, look at the benefits. What's in it for me? Number three, change your words from I need to I want. Smoke with the other hand. Smoke in a different spot. Keep a journal. Track the time and location. Tip number 7, track your feelings and your emotions. What's going on? Why do you grab that? Number 8, buy a different brand of cigarettes. Number 9, start paying cash for your cigarettes. And drum roll, on number 10, what is your final tip for people, Helena, that are smoking?
Yeah, my final tip for helping you becoming smoke-free is hire a hypnotist. Hire a hypnotist who specializes in helping people to become smoke-free. There are so many people around Canada, North America, the UK, Germany, Europe, Australia, Asia, all over the world who have trained to help people stop smoking cigarettes. There's no need to struggle. There's no need for cravings, and there's no need for withdrawals. A hypnotist or a hypnotherapist is specially trained to work with your mind, where the cravings, the withdrawals, the idea of smoking resides. Because as I was saying all along here, a lot of my tips are to break you out of the trance, break you out of the smoking trance. And you can do all the things that I suggested, or you can just hire a hypnotist to help you become smoke-free. Now, Dana, at the beginning, I talked about, I was kind of gave that little teaser as to, the truth about nicotine.
Why people smoke.
Why people smoke. You see, you're not addicted to nicotine. You have a habit. You have a very bad habit, and you've had it for a very long time. You've repeatedly smoked a cigarette like this. Do you know, Dana, that it is, if you smoke one cigarette a day for a year, that's 7,300 cigarettes in a year that you smoked.
Wow.
A lot of people have smoked more than 10 years. That's 73,000 cigarettes that's come to their mouth. And that's 10 times, that's 730,000 times that you brought that cigarette to your hand, to your mouth. That is a powerful habit. And a hypnotist can help you get into your subconscious mind where all habits reside and just change the way that you think and behave in certain situations. And in this case, around smoking. So
yeah, that's powerful. And I was very surprised when I learned that, when we were having this conversation about doing this. So Helena, could you walk people through a typical session with you if they're in your office? What does that look like? So we know they do, there's a pre-form that they have to fill out where you get information about them, and then what goes on from there?
Yes. So when people book a session with me, I send them two forms. They're my intake forms. They'll take about maybe 10 minutes to fill out. They'll give you a lot of insight into your smoking. And then when people come in to see me, things are completely different. First of all, our sessions are 2 to 2.5 hours long. I ask people to book off 3 hours because I never stop a session unless we're completely done, unless that person is completely 100% know and believe that they are smoke-free. So in the session in my office, we'll watch a video together. It explains a lot of things. It turns people's lives or their thoughts upside down, what they thought they knew about smoking and cigarettes and addiction and habit and all that kind of stuff. And then we do a very advanced hypnotic or an advanced protocol. It's a neurological process that I've been trained in. It's called the Guzzo protocol. And it involves different things. It resets your whole physical system. And when we finish that particular part of the session, people know that they're a non-smoker. But we're not done yet, because that's the when we do the hypnosis. And hypnosis is like people just sitting and lying there with their eyes closed and listening to me tell them a story. Very simple, it's very safe. And as long as people want to feel hypnotized, be hypnotized, they can be hypnotized. And then after the hypnosis session, we do another neurological test, a physical test, and their bodies, their minds are on one path. They're on the path of freedom where they breathe fresh, clean air. And that's when they decide to leave me their cigarettes.
That's right. So you can do this in one session?
I can do this in one session, and I do this. I offer a lifetime guarantee, Dana. I offer a lifetime guarantee, and that means for those people, the few people, and my success rate, Dana, get this, is 90 to 95% in one session.
Wow, that's fabulous.
And the process.
And you do follow up if you need to, if people need that, and you have different packages as well, right?
I do. I have different packages, and I offer a package that offers no guarantee. Isn't that interesting? I also have a no guarantee package, and it's the exact same process. But there's people out there that just know that they're ready to stop smoking. And they don't need the guarantee because they just know that this is what's going to work because they've either had a friend, a relative, a neighbor, or they just know that they've just decided that today is the day and they're going to quit smoking. So I have the no lifetime guarantee, and that's a little bit less. And I have the lifetime guarantee. That's just a little bit more. And so if those people ever find themselves having a craving or withdrawal, they just reach out to me by text or a phone call, an email. We might just have a quick chat on the phone or a video chat. And if they need to come back into the office and have a subsequent session, we do a subsequent session and we just knock it out of their system.
Right.
It happens so rarely, Dana. That's why I can offer a lifetime guarantee.
That's great. And I understand too, Helena, that since you and I are both certified emotion code practitioners, we are the emotion code divas, that you also have now included that in your sessions as well. Just sort of, it's kind of like that very bottom base. Let's just get any trapped emotions there that are preventing you from being smoke free.
That's right. The emotion code is, I ask people permission if I can work on them energetically and tap into their subconscious mind and look for any trapped emotions, any hidden emotions that may be causing them to smoke, or perhaps, some people, they believe maybe 50% that they're going to stop smoking.
Yeah.
So I look for the emotions and I release those so they can believe 100% that they can stop smoking and that they can remain smoke free for the rest of their life.
Yeah, that's fabulous. What a gift.
Mm-hmm.
What a gift. And, we talked, number one, the top point was about deciding, and I know there's some people in my life that I've offered to buy your packages for them to help them become smoke free, but their fears are bigger than knowing, the unknown there, like what will happen to me or whatever. And really there's nothing at all to fear. Your work is very safe. It's very scientific. It's grounded. You have the evidence. You have all the results from people as well. But I totally do understand if people are not ready, if you just want to give it a try, from a law of attraction perspective, it's probably not going to work for you. So I know you have on the link here your main website, Flourish Hypnosis, but you also have another one dedicated to the Stop Smoking Lady. What is that website URL?
It's thestopsmokinglady.com.
All right, perfect. All right. And so people can book a session with you through that, and your office is...
I'm located in Cobble Hill, which is about halfway down mid-island, maybe about 45 minutes from downtown Victoria and about 45 minutes from Nanaimo.
Okay.
And I'm in Vancouver quite a lot. And so Vancouver, British Columbia, and I see clients there. We need to schedule that a few weeks in advance. And then, I see people in Vancouver, help them stop smoking too.
Excellent. Well, Helena, it's been a pleasure. You've really given me a lot of information that I did not know. You've got a lot of insight and a lot of, your depth of understanding this is really comforting for me to know that I would easily refer people to you. And so I think, like you say, you get a lot of business from referrals. So if you find the information that we have shared here today valuable, share it with people that you know. I mean, it's some good education and information that Helena has shared that might just tweak something in somebody's mind. And also because we are, this is being recorded live before the holiday season, so we know that a lot of people, even moving into January, right? How they want to stop smoking. Well, it is a massive gift that you can give yourself. And remember, you can have the best intentions. So if you want to pass this and share this video on, that's great for somebody that you'd like to help. But that individual must make the decision themselves, because that's how the subconscious and the conscious mind are going to work together to bring you the results that you're looking for. So thanks so much, Helena. And I'm Dana J. Smithers. You can find me at Empowered Women in Business, and I love interviewing empowered women. And as Helena and I mentioned, we have every Wednesday morning the Emotion Code Diva show. So that's it for now. I hope you've enjoyed the program. We'd love to hear your comments.